Hey guys, Morgan's Maintenance. Today I'm going to change the rear differential fluid in my 2011 F150. I think Ford recommends you do this every 60,000 miles. I'm actually turning over 130,000 miles on my truck, but I bought it used. I think it had like 60,000 miles whenever I bought it. So I'm hoping they did it the first time around. Probably didn't, so I'm probably a little bit over on this. And if you don't know where the rear differential is, it's basically right and smack in the middle of under your truck and between your two rear tires. You can see that here. And I'm going to throw this disclaimer out there. I am not a mechanic. I am a carpenter or a contractor. You can see levels and those kinds of tools in my truck. But this is something I feel like I can do myself, even though I've never done this before. So if you're watching me for an expert option in doing this type of work, I'm not the right person to watch, but maybe you'll learn something from it anyways. But I'm going ahead and doing it. The reason why I work on my own truck, I don't do this for anybody else's vehicles, but it's because I don't want to have to unload all this stuff if I take it somewhere, or maybe I don't trust the people working on it. And on top of that, I'm going to be able to control when my truck is available to me to use for my work. Right now, I don't have any jobs to take care of in the next 24 hours, which is how long it's going to take to do this, to let the sealant dry and all those kinds of things. So that's why I'm doing it. So here's the tools that you're going to need to do this. This is an optional tool if you want to use that to clean things, but you're probably going to need you a torque wrench. If you don't have that, you can probably get away with it as well. You're actually going to need a 1/2 inch socket. It actually calls for a 13 millimeter, but I just got under there and checked. It actually fits better. I had seen that on some other people's videos. I'm going to be using a M12 high-speed ratchet, but you don't have to have that, but you will need a 3/8 ratchet. Also going to need you like a scraper / stiff putty knife type thing to break that seal open. Probably also want to get you a flashlight. I'm going to have some lights under there. You're going to need some gear oil gasket maker by Permatex. This is 81182. I'll put links to all these things in the description. I bought every bit of this off Amazon. You might need some Permatex thread sealant as well. That's 59214. And then also, and this is kind of optional for certain trucks. Well, it's not optional for certain trucks. It's mandatory for certain trucks. Optional for others, but they say it doesn't hurt if you put it in if you don't need it. So this is that friction modifier additive. You'll add this in with some of your synthetic rear axle lubricant. So you're going to do that. Also probably going to want you some gloves, some scrapers of different kind to clean off the old sealant. And then they recommended that you get at least 4 quarts just to make sure you have enough of the Motorcraft 75W140 synthetic rear axle lubricant. So I got 4 quarts of that. And then I've got some parts cleaner and stuff like that as well. And of course, you're going to need some rags and then something else to catch, like a drain pan or whatever. I'm just using this tote. This fits underneath there perfectly. You'll see that in a little bit. And then I'm going to put plastic down even underneath of that. So basically, that's all that you're going to need. So if you don't have these things, do not start this. And then I'm going to voice over probably the work part of it because I'm working outside. There's going to be cars going by. Lots of other noises and things like that. So I'm probably just going to do voiceover instead of talking while I'm working. But let's go ahead and jump into it and see what we can do. So the very first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and remove the fill plug because I want to make sure that I can get this out. The worst thing that you could do is remove all your fluid and then you're not going to be able to fill it back up. That's going to make you end up being in pretty bad shape. So that's the whole reason behind doing this right here. Again, just going to pull it out. Make sure that I can get it out all the way, and then now I'm just going to take it and put it back in there for now, just so I don't end up losing it throughout this process. Next, I'm going to remove this wiring off the studs. There's 3 spots. I believe this is ABS wiring. Don't hold me to that, but I think that's what this is. But just getting it up out of the way so I can get access. Now I'm just taking a 1/2 inch socket, again going around and breaking loose with a regular ratchet, getting all the sockets or all the bolts broke free. I could have used my M12 ratchet because you can still break stuff free. It just seems like it's a little bit easier with a regular ratchet for me. So continuing the process all the way around. Now I'm switching over to the M12 high speed. Again, it's just a whole lot faster to get it all out. And then I did change to a deep well because those studs up there that the wiring was connected to, I couldn't get it with the shallow socket, so you might want to plan to use a deep well. And I will go ahead and say, just a tip, I removed the spare tire, and that made it drastically more access to this area. Again, I don't have my truck jacked up, don't have it on a lift, I'm just laying underneath of it. But if you remove that spare tire, quite a bit better access. Now I'm leaving that top bolt up there, that's what I'm pointing to there. You don't want to take them all out because you want that pan to hold in place whenever you break it free, so you're not trying to break it free and hold the cover at the same time. Now I'm taking a stiff putty knife, just trying to break this seal, going in at an angle towards the bottom. You can see that fluid starting to come out, going down the left side. Now I'm going to move over to the right side, start coming down through there. You'll see more fluid start to come out. And it still wasn't wanting to break, so I had to move up a little bit, and you're going to see that break free, all the fluid come out, and that's why I left that top bolt up there. I didn't have to hold on to that cover. Now I'm going and taking that top bolt out so I can remove the cover and access the rear differential. Now I'm going to try to get all that extra fluid that's down in the bottom. Just keep trying to stick my fingers in there and get that out. Take a rag, get back in there. Also get out as much of that as I can in the bottom. Then I'm going to take rags, stuff it all around the whole entire inside. And again, the purpose for this is just while I'm scraping the outside flange, I don't want any of that stuff getting inside of the rear differential, all this little silicone or gasket material and all that stuff. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just doing this to protect the differential, keep debris out. Now I'm taking a scraper. This one's just kind of like a regular putty knife, just to get the bulk off of it, just the big pieces. Some of it's coming off pretty easy, just with that, you can see there. And then I change over to a razor blade scraper to start getting off, and you can see it's just shaving it off in small amounts. This actually was not very hard to clean at all. I was pretty surprised. This is my first time doing it. I expected this to be the worst part of the entire job, and it wasn't too bad. Again, just going around the whole entire thing. Probably won't bore you with all of it. After I went through it a few times, I got out some brake cleaner, sprayed around the outside to help loosen up the remaining gasket material that was on there. And then I went back and kind of hit it with the scraper one more time just to get all the stuff that was still left. Again, the idea is just to get it 100% clean, 100% dry at the end of it. There goes my one-eyed cat checking out, seeing what I'm doing. And then after you get it clean, start pulling the rags out. I'm pulling them out, trying to make all that silicone come out with it. Anything that I scraped, I wanted to come out with the rags, not fall back into the differential. And then just cleaning out that bottom one more time for any other oil that may have, dripped down in there while it was sitting there for that period of time. Everything that's kind of drained into that sump. And then one last clean with the brake fluid cleaner, not brake fluid, brake parts cleaner, not even brake fluid cleaner. Again, just going around the outside, making sure it's nice and clean, checking everywhere. Again, this is very important, having that clean. Now we're on to the cover. Same exact thing. I'm going to spray everything down with some parts cleaner along with the bolts. But here I'm just doing the same process with this as I just did on the part on the truck. I'm just cleaning off all the big silicone or big gasket material first with a razor blade, scraping with a wire brush, getting all the gasket material off of the bolts so that whenever I'm putting them back in, I'm not sealing the old gasket. And then now I'm just going to wipe out the bulk of everything, just mostly to get all that liquid out and get it kind of dried off some. And then here I'm taking my M12 die grinder. I didn't do this under the truck because I was afraid it would throw debris into the rear differential, and there's probably some people out there that are going to say you shouldn't use something like this on this, but I think it did a really good job. It cleaned it off nice. I'm fine with it. I don't think it's going to be a problem. Then it's a matter of, again, just double cleaning, triple cleaning, whatever you got to do. It needs to be clean. This isn't my cover. I lost the footage of that, but this is what you want that gasket bead to look like on the inside of your bolt holes and then around the outside edge. And then now we're just going to take and put that cover on. I also lost the footage of the straight on shot of this, which kind of upset me, but you'll get to see the squeeze out from the side view anyway. So you just want to make sure you get this lined up. You really get one shot at it. Get the bolt holes lined up. Take you a couple of the bolts, put those in there, and then get those started so that you're not holding the cover at the same time as trying to do all this work. And once you get all the bolts in, again, just going around doing that, sticking them all in, and then make sure that you put those ones with the studs back in the same location so that you can put your ABS wiring back on the same spot. So this is the time to make sure you've got the bolts in the right spot. Now I'm going to use my M12 ratchet. You can see that squeeze out there. Now I'm just going to do a pattern, no particular pattern, just kind of going around. You want to make sure you kind of go crossways, and same thing you typically would do with anything else. I'm just going around and snugging all of them up with my M12 ratchet. Again, it's a 1/2 inch deep well socket on there. As you see that squeeze out on the outside and around your bolts, then you know that you should have a pretty good seal anyways. Once you're done, you're going to want to wipe that off. If you're somebody like me, you don't do that at all. Leave all that gasket material stuck out. Don't wipe those. Now I'm going to torque them down. The torque spec on my truck is 33 foot-pounds, but you might want to just double check for yourself on yours. Could be a little bit different. And then I'm just going to go around, same process, kind of jumping back and forth, going across and getting to that 33 foot-pounds on all of mine. Now some people say you should wait until it cures and do this, and then some people didn't. I just did it right after. Again, I don't know if that's the right way to do it or not, but that's what I did. And then now I'm going to take and put that wiring back on those studs. That's kind of the last process of this right here, last bit that you'll be underneath of the truck in this area. And then now we're going to get to that fill. Now this is 24 hours later is what they suggest. I basically let mine set overnight. Some people say you can do it after an hour. Again, do that at your own discretion. The Permatex stuff on the package said 24 hours. I did wait overnight. I didn't wait a full 24 hours, but it was quite a bit of time. So don't forget to add the additive friction modifier additive if it's on your truck, if it's needed. Some trucks it's not. They do say that if it's not needed, it doesn't matter. I mix mine in with the first quart of the rear axle oil, and then now I'm putting those in, squeezing those in. And again, this was probably actually the hardest part because I'm not on a lift. I don't have it jacked up. It was hard for me to get these up in here and lay underneath there in that area. I think mine ended up taking 3.5 quarts is what it ends up taking, but you want to just keep putting it in and checking, and you're going to see it eventually run out. Now you're going to have some run out like what you can see right there dripping down. That's just me filling it up. That's not what you're looking for to know that you've got it at the fill level. You'll see that in just a second. Again, it's quite a process. You can't really get the bottles all the way empty either. It's hard to do that. So, and here I think is the last little bit. You're about to see it start to come out like you're looking for, to know that you've got it full here in just a second. That right there, that's what you're looking for, that kind of a run out. And basically, after you get it to that point, go ahead and let it sit there until you quit getting all that run out coming out into your whatever it is you've got catching. You can see how much is running out there. I got a pretty decent stream. So that stream's what you're looking for. You will have some run out while you're filling it up, just because stuff's splashing out and stuff's running down your bottles. But that's what you're looking for. Let that level out. Once it kind of quits, now I'm going to take the Permatex thread sealant, put some of that onto the drain plug, or not the drain plug, but the fill plug. Get that put in there. I'm going to use a 3/8 inch ratchet to tighten this up. I'm not using a torque wrench. I believe it's 18 foot-pounds, but again, check your truck. I'm just gripping it up high to not have that much leverage. And then the last thing that you need to do is just get it all cleaned up. More so for the purpose of, while you're going and testing it out, you'll know if you've got a leak somewhere, instead of, oh, well, that's just some old oil that I left behind. So that's the last part of the process, cleaning up your work, taking that rag, wiping it down. Make sure you wipe everything down. Again, just so that you'll know if you have a leak later. So yeah, guys, that is a DIY version of me changing the rear differential fluid in my 2011 F-150. Again, this is my own truck. I wouldn't do this for someone else. I'm definitely not a mechanic. I'm a contractor. I've got every tool at my disposal to do things in a house, whether it's electrical, plumbing, HVAC, framing, remodeling, whatever it is. I don't have all the tools in the world, or a lift, or anything like that to do things a certain way. I'm sure there's some mechanics out there that would watch this and say, well, I definitely wouldn't have done this, and that's probably going to be the case. In fact, I'm going to link another video in the description below of a video that I watched that I thought was really good. So if you're going to tackle this yourself, you may want to watch his before. You know, it's always good to watch as many things as you can before you tackle a job that you've never done before, which is what this is. I've never done this before. I didn't find it to be difficult, as long as you got the right supplies. And again, I'll link all the supplies that I used in the description below, so you can check those out as well. But hope this video was interesting, entertaining some way, some form or fashion, but hope it was useful as well. As always, stay safe, have a blessed day. See you on the next video.